Hi guys, today we're starting a series that is all about Fall Winter 2026, latest collection. And I know I'm a bit late starting this, but I'm just getting a chance. So the point is to basically cover all the major cities, New York, Paris, London, and Milan, and basically go through all the main shows and the key shows and just sort of quickly review each collection, quickly go through each collection and share my thoughts on it. So we're starting with London. I know I should have started in New York because that's technically the first season, first city that we start with, but I just kind of wanted to start with London. And so what I'm going to do is just basically quickly go through each collection and I'm going to share my thoughts on that, and let's see if you guys agree or disagree. So we're going to start. So first we're starting with this Boraksu. So whenever I look at these clothes, it's when we were in the pandemic and there was this whole cottage core trend. Boraksu is cottage core redefined. He has taken that dreamy, surreal, floating fairy angel aspect of a really conventional, romantic European, mainly I think very sort of English a gown, and he's like really made it into something like really cool and Gen Z. And I think that's what most designers are trying to do, like a lot think taking something up from the past and like really revamping it for the current audience. With him, it's these like sort of very romantic gothic vintage gowns and dresses. For example, if we take Dimitri Petsa, she has been playing a lot with the wet look, which I feel is a beautiful reference, and I'm pretty sure it's a reference to the Roman marble statue. So I think there's a connection to the past with a lot of work that we see, but I think with him it's so much more obvious, but it's still very relatable. I think this designer obviously caters to a very certain kind of person, a person who has a very clear and confident aesthetic. And I feel it's a good showcase of how a designer is so sure in its identity that they don't feel the need to sort of flounder here and there, and they're so confident in their aesthetic and what they're making and what the brand stands for. I think that's sort of rare to see, because I've seen a lot of these young designers are trying to sort of deviate a lot from their core philosophy that they start with. But I think, of course, Bora has been very consistent in their sort of deliverables. But I understand the need for new designers to sort of explore more things, because of course they're young designers, so they need to explore that. They need to sort of go out and about and see what's out there. And of course, at the end of the day, it's a business, so they need things that sell more. They need things that round up the whole brand. So I get that, but I think I really like the balance that is achieved here. I really think it's a beautiful collection. I think if I were to pick my favorite look from this, I think it would be this rather gorgeous gown. I mean, it's just a perfect mix of everything that you would want. The color, the shape, the silhouette, the little details. I love the layer of the tools. I think how you can see how the each layer is getting cut off after some time. The boots are of course gorgeous. I think this look is just perfection, and the beautiful butterfly headpiece is gorgeous. I think this is more on the Great Gatsby side, especially the headpiece. It's very 1920s, US 1920s, whereas this is, of course, diving very into a floral dreamscape. But I think this is like a very funeral chic look. Maybe not for the funeral, but maybe like a funeral dinner or lunch. It's absolutely fabulous. I mean, if you want to picture like a daughter of a super rich, wealthy woman whose husband has just died and they're just, eye rolling their way into the funeral, I think this is what the daughter would wear. It's absolutely stunning. But I think overall it's a very strong collection, and there's really nothing much to love or hate here. I think it's not a collection that is going into any extreme. It's a good collection. It does what it sets out to do, and I think I can appreciate it for that. Now let's move to maybe Dimitri Petsa. I mentioned her in my just now. So I think this would be a good contrast. So how Bora has been more about sort of a more old school notion of glam, Dimitri is completely opposite that way. I think she has some of the most sexiest looks at London Fashion Week. And I mean, this collection is a plethora of just gorgeous evening wear looks, gorgeous the dresses that, that can just land into any woman's wardrobe. If you feel like it's a very democratic collection in that way, because it can cater to almost every level of modesty, which I think is pretty interesting. How much you want to reveal, or how you want to sort of present yourself. I think it has a very varied collection, which I really appreciate about it. It's of course very sensual. That was never the question. And but I do feel that I think it's missing some wet looks, so I would have loved to see more signature wet looks here. But I do love this gorgeous menswear piece that she's done. I also love this black dress. I think it's very on her brand, but I don't feel it's a continuation of her wet look, which I think is an interesting exploration. This again is extremely cute. It sort of reminds me of those cute Vivienne Westwood gowns, but she has really added her touch to it. I think this I'm just going to just ignore because this is just not it. I think even these three, I think this one is gorgeous, but I think these two are just no way. And these were the looks that I've seen a lot. I think they were sort of going viral, but to be honest, I don't really see the appeal. I think I find her doing her best in a more classic, timeless look, like maybe this beige one. This white one is gorgeous. This menswear is, of course, gorgeous, like I said. I think she's doing her best when she's sticking to the basics because she has an inherent sexuality to her work. So when you overdo it, I think it just ends up looking too much, maybe a little gaudy at some points. Even this is really beautiful, even though it's not her signature. I think she's really managed to balance the sort of grunginess of it. Even, of course, this is an absolutely stunning look. The colors are gorgeous. The sort of cut is absolutely, it's very unique, and oh my god, the tattoo placement just fits in so perfectly. And even this is such a beautiful look. It's so dainty, flimsy, but it's so de pezza. It's just perfectly blending in with her aesthetic, and it's also such a good continuation of the brand. And I feel I would love to see something more like this from her. Even this is very gorgeous because you can, like, it feels like the print is melting. It feels like there was a printed block of fabric which is literally melting on by a solid color, which I think is really nice. It's a really nice visual effect, and it of course ties in very well. So I feel these were her strongest looks, where she was doing that, she was something that she was already good at. And I think there's so much more scope for her to, like, really push this aesthetic forward, because yes, in fashion we know depends are, but I think this, like, it can be like a major global thing. So I really think she needs to capitalize more on her signatures before moving on to new things, which of course she should. But I mean, yeah, that's just my take. Okay, now let's go to Autumn was, I think, the 20th anniversary collection, if I'm not wrong. I mean, Autumn is always just divine, isn't it? So this collection was basically Autumn's 20th anniversary, and I feel it was a very strong tribute to what the designer has done and what we can expect from the brand going forward. He sort of described it as a mashup to his work, his Endless Woman, his eras, and sort of a beautiful nod to references that he has sort of done over the years. And it's very romantic. If you see, every look has this very signature Erdem romance fantasy to it, and I think this collection is more fantastical than his usual work. I think it's a very surreal collection, and oh my god, I was one thing I thought I would do in the series is sort of pick my favorite look from each collection, but I think this is so difficult, and I'm just on my third sort of review. So I think almost every look is stunning. I mean, this is such a cool, like, outfit. The styling here is impeccable. This is beautiful. I mean, the embroidery, the craftsmanship, the cutouts, the, my god, insane. This again, the sort of French distressed fringe draping is beautiful. The prints here, the corset, and of course this is again like a gorgeous, it's very classic autumn look. The colors are just perfectly blending in together. It's beautiful. I think almost every look is divine here. I think the silhouettes were so dramatic here. They were so vintage in their sort of spirit. But I think what happens in the collections like this is that the clothes often tend to look costume like, but of course, with a designer as sort of focused and masterful as him, it's really difficult to do that. So I think all the looks feel very, very natural in a way. I know it's a little contradictory to define such dramatic looks as natural, but I mean they feel so organic, as in they would fit into any sort of appropriate event that they would blend in. I mean, they're statement pieces, but I think they have this very ornate sense of ease to them. They're very regal, of course, dreamy, but they also have a very approachable vibe to it, which I think is a very difficult balance because, of course, fantasy looks do tend to sort of just stand out too much, or maybe they just lack that sort of natural magnetism, which I think is not the question here. So I think, again, a beautiful collection. But coming back to my favorite look, oh my god, I think I would have to choose this because I just really love this, and I think Erdem has now really solidified his signatures. So I think for him to sort of explore like this, a more experimental, a more catering to a more younger demand audience makes sense, and he has earned the right to do that, and he has earned the trust and credit and the branding to do that. I think this is just a beautiful reference to his work, and also I think a good sort of direction to what we can see more out of Fordham. Okay, so next we are going to Harris Reed. I mean, Harris is of course dramatic. It was titled Multifarious, and he always loves a spectacle. I think all his collections have a certain amount of insane amount of drama, fantasy, and sort of spectacularness to it. And this is also a debut of his bridal line, and oh my god, this is a very gorgeous bridal look. But I have to say, when I heard bridal and Harris, I would have expected something so much more dramatic. But I love the fact that he has just really toned that down, and he added pink with a veil and a very classic look. In fact, oh my god, this reminds me of a very Victoria Beckham bride. I know there's not many Victoria Beckham brides, but I think this is gorgeous. This look is just so perfect because let's be honest, no one would wear like a classic Harris Reed look in white to their wedding. So I think he's like really thankfully understood that. And I love how romantic his clothes are. The silhouettes are good. I think, a lot of people do tend to hate on it because, of course, it's a bit out of place. It's not something that you would wear every day. I mean, where are you going to wear this look? It's an editorial look, let's be honest, unless you're Carrie Bradshaw, you're not wearing that. And I think even she might be a little hesitant, but they are absolutely gorgeous. I mean, this suit it's brilliant. That's literally all I can say on it because it's just a masterpiece. To have the suit and to be able to wear the suit is, it's a accomplishment. It was very luxurious. I love the sort of play of the textures because he has quite a few textures and fabrics. He is not limited in his approach. He's very opulent that way, which does tie in very well with his aesthetic. I think this is my favorite look because it's just so fantastical. It reminds me a little bit of John Galliano's Dior because of the cuts and the panels and the sort of subtle corset. It's very McQueen also in some ways. I know these are like really big names I'm taking, but I do see a little bit of that influence, and I really like the approach, and I think it's a very fairly wearable look. So I really love this one. I do love a fun collection. I think this was very fun. I do love a fun collection. I do love a fun collection, and this was indeed fun. Okay, so now let's move to Burberry. Oh my god, I think Burberry was definitely the closing show, and might I say the strongest show this season because they were all about their trench coat. I mean, of course, we think Burberry, we think trench, but I think they like really went all out with their whole trench mania, and it was just a lineup of gorgeous coats, and I love nothing more than a good coat. But I do wish that we had seen more of the Burberry print, the Burberry check, which is kind of something that we didn't see more of. I mean, I think the only piece I remember is this sort of beautiful fur piece. Indeed, I'll say it's a gorgeous piece, but I feel that yeah, we could have definitely used more brand signatures here because the problem is that even though they went all out with the trench, I think there's a cohesion in the vibe and the energy of the collection if you look at it all together. But I do feel the outfits and the styling individually is pretty pretty different. It's sort of leading to a disconnected storyline, which I feel can be done better. But there was an overall strong Burberry message here. I think silhouettes were the key role here. I think silhouettes definitely played the key role here. Daniel Lee has fully committed to the bench, but I'm very glad. I think we just as a society don't see as much Burberry as we should on the streets, and I feel we need to change that. Everything just looked super rich and very tactile. I mean, you just want to like leap into your screen and see what is happening because it just looks so like touchable. Like it just looks so tactile and textile rich that you just want to kind of go and just, go and just literally like off your screen. The colors were of course mostly dark and very moody, I might say. It was all about the blues and the blacks, and just here a little bit of plum and mustard here. But I do love the little bit of sparkle. I think just very subtle spark and shimmer, and that sort of sheen that you see. But I'll say this look gorgeous. I know it's not a trench look, but this jacket is divine. This leather pleated skirt, immaculate. I think the styling on this is amazing. The model is pulling it off. The heels are perfect. I think this is a beautiful look, but I won't say it's my favorite. I might say that my favorite look is, God, I'm kind of scared of coming off as basic because all I'm liking is basic trench coats. But I think I'm gonna say it's this one. I know I chose a very similar look to the one I didn't want to choose, but it's a very strong look. It's very London. It's very punk. It's very fun. It's very Daniel Lee. It's all leather. It's like literally all leather, which I kind of love. The color is gorgeous. I love the mismatch bag. The bag is, of course, is very gorgeous. It's very chic, and I think it's a very strong look. It's the perfect winter look. So I really love that. So okay, next we are moving on to, any guesses? Yes, it's Richard Quinn. How can one not just love Richard Quinn? Is very loyal to his glam, and thank God he is, because his idea of a glamorous woman, a beautiful woman, is just undeniably beautiful. I mean, there's no question about it. It's just divine. I mean, he is really committed to the old school conventional glamour aesthetic, and I feel we do need people to do that because we have a lot of people doing this and that, but he is devoted to something more classic, which I do appreciate. There's beautiful gowns for women who have some important ball to be at, which I know is not all of us, but I mean, it doesn't hurt to look at pretty clothes. So of course, black and white is his signature. So he's doing a lot of that in a range of silhouettes, which I love, and a lot of gorgeous pop of colors. Of course, red, pink. Here we have a lot of soft pastels. We have a lot of teal this season. These teal looks. The teal is gorgeous, but I think all these three teal looks are just leaning into something more costumey for me, very 80s costumey. But oh my god, when you look at this gorgeous yellow piece, it's absolutely divine. It's very Lily Collins. I can totally picture Lily Collins and Emmeline Paris running around whatever city she is in this look. This, of course, is again a gorgeous piece. It's red, it's dramatic for the opera, maybe. This is again it's giving very 1980s Dior. Very gorgeous, I think. He definitely knows how to make looks feel very grand without making them seem like a prom dress. He knows how to sort of like really take those classic feminine elements in a look and like really elevate them and put them in a like really chic way across. I mean, look at this, his latex leggings with a gorgeous pink bubble skirt, a brooch here, and a velvet bodice. Absolute perfection. And yes, this is my favorite because, and Quinn has played with latex a lot in his previous collections also, and it's such a beautiful sort of contrast to what he does. So I think this is just the strongest look. I mean, there are beautiful gowns, but then there is a good outfit. Okay, so now we have Simone Rocha, and this was a collab with Adidas. I know I would have never placed them together, but before I even get to the collection, I need to talk about this Adidas and Rocha collab because it was absolutely divine. The clothes, the pieces were delicious. The shoes, I remember seeing this one pair of ballet heels, and I think it's a beautiful collab. I really love how they've managed to merge the aesthetics. Though it's just amazing. And this Simone Rocha collection, like every other Simone Rocha collection, was very edgy, romantic, coquette. And she was the one who started that whole coquette trend, right? She was definitely a major player in that. I mean, and oh my god, these massive corset references in the front of the gown, amazing. And I love that they're styled over like Adidas jackets because why not? And it's absolutely perfect. Though I will say I'm a little, this one's questionable. I can't defend it, I feel, but I get why it was made. It's very her, but I think this is so much more just perfection. It's red. I love the little fur moment. I love the stack of ribboned brooches. It's beautiful. The color is divine. It's just flowing and floating, which I think could have used a few more ribbons. This is not so classic Rosha look, but again, amazing styling. Love this sort of fur neckline they have just added on top of it. The cardigan is beautiful. The bralette is a little like the fit is off, the creasing is too much, but it's gorgeous regardless. And when did she start making such amazing pants? The pants are just perfection. They are dream everyday pants. I mean, you need them. So I think overall a gorgeous look. Oh my god, and I just have to mention this color. I mean, this shade of green is perfection. I generally hate green. I am very anti-green, but this is beautiful. This is divine. This sort of, oh my god, I've said divine too much, I know, but really it is. I'm sorry, but this color is just speaking to me. And time for my favorite look. Oh my god, again a difficult one. Shit. Oh my god, I think I'm gonna go with this one. I don't know, something about this is very screaming to me, though I would like to switch up the colors a bit. I think I would just maybe go for like a red bralette, a red brooch, and maybe some other color here, or maybe green might work too, but I think I'll definitely like a pop of red, so it feels like more Simone. It feels more on brand. And I mean, yeah, I think I'll do that. And maybe I'll style them when, oh my god, these shoes, perfect. Oh my god, perfect. So like a red and a pink here, and these shoes here. So it's red, pink, grayish look. Classic, cool, and very on brand. I would love that. I know I just sort of changed it up for no reason at all, but I mean, why not? So next we have Tolu Coker. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I really do. I'm sorry. I tried to look it up, but I just could not find it. And I'll be very honest. I did not know of this brand before the season, and I really found out because Prince. My God, who's that guy? Prince. What is his name? Charles, the current King Charles. Sorry, I don't really follow royalty unless it's okay. I can't even think of a celebrity that I love. Sorry, but yeah, I didn't know before he visited the collection, and we all know why he visited. Now I can remember the headlines. But I mean, yeah, it did give this brand much deserved spotlight, I might say. And it's just perfect. And you know, I am a big advocate for cute short dresses. And I know that sounds really shallow when I'm trying to describe this brand with this. And I know it's not technically a short dress, but it's giving that sort of vibe, very shorty, dressy vibe, which I love. And there's this one particular look. Oh my god, yes. This is, I think, one of my favorite looks of this entire season, not just London. And I really love this. It's so classic. I love the color. I love the tie. It's corporate core. It's chic. It's very Gen Z. It's very current. It's sporty. It's just amazing. I saw this look and I just immediately fell in love with this brand that I didn't know of. And I think it was mainly because of this look. I think, of course, all the looks are gorgeous. This is giving me very like 80s London, a very solid reference to Vivienne Westwood. I don't know if that's what they were aiming for, but I think it was. And oh my god, I love the like really sort of very updated homage and references to the classic British tailoring that we know of. And I think she's really added her sort of cultural impact onto it. But I think instead of letting any sort of references overpowering the looks, she like really let clothes speak for herself. I mean, this is a gorgeous look again, and you can see how beautiful her brand and design language is. You can see it in almost every look, the shapes, the cuts, the silhouettes, the pleats. It really comes together beautifully, and I really love that she's been able to achieve that as a fairly younger brand, which I always love to see that. And this is so cool. This is like real like cool girl clothes. I mean, this look is gorgeous. Okay, oh my god, should my favorite look be this one? No, sorry, fuck, I'm already committed to that one. This is a very very close second. And pink and gray, underrated color combo. Gorgeous look. The mini tie, oh my god, and just amazing. Even this one is so chic. It's so cool. And oh my god, I just noticed these cutouts on the sweatpants. Again, such a subtle, sexy reference. It reminds me a little bit of Priya Aluwalia, and I know why it's not fair to compare designers, but I think the way that she honors her Nigerian and Indian aesthetic in her clothes, blended with like modern classics, and I think that is what this brand has been able to do with their sort of London and Nigerian blend. Nigeria has some of the coolest designers out there, and oh my god, this is proof. But I really love this collection. I think underrated hit. Now let's move on to the last collection of this video, which is now let's move on to the last collection of this video, which is Emilia Wicksteed. And I have generally been very supportive of this brand, and I do really like their work. The craftsmanship is gorgeous. It's very regal. It's very luxe. It's the tailoring is perfection, the fabrics are amazing. I mean, just look at this gown, it's made to perfection with such a heavy fabric. The drapes, the cut, beautiful. The suit again is a testament to their work. These dresses or whatever, but I, you know what I mean, right? I mean, they have the skill set. And these three gowns, I mean, this is beautiful, but I will say that this collection was very lost on me, and I did try to love it a lot. I think they had been doing like really classic feminine garments for a while, and in the last, I think 3 4 seasons, they've like really been experimenting, which I do appreciate. I am not anti experimentation or, you know, widening your horizons, but I feel this collection was, I think, just unfortunately forgettable. I don't think we have anything to take away from this apart from these two gorgeous gowns. I think this is a beautiful piece and a more party wear, you know, silver version of this divine gown. My god, divine again, kill me. But this is beautiful. I really love it. It's just made beautifully. The neckline is so regal. It's so retro. It's gorgeous. It reminds me of that show Marvelous Mrs. Maisel and all the looks and the dresses that Midge is wearing. This is a beautiful look. Even these two are pretty good. And of course, there's so much talent here, but I think the collection was very all over the place. There was no cohesion. It was trying to do everything. You know, you can just see it from these pictures itself. It was very all over the place, which I feel, I think the brand can, of course, do so much better. And I really do look forward to more collections from them. But I mean, yeah, that's pretty much it for London Fashion Week. I think we had like around 9 collections. And so, I mean, yeah, that was it. Do tell me what was your favorite collection from London Fashion Week. We have next videos coming forward. I think next one I'm going to do is New York. I'm going to save Paris for last because that's a really long video because n number of collections. But I mean, yeah, that was all about London Fashion Week. But thank you so much for watching, and do tell me what was your favorite look. And do check out the next video, which is just gonna record in the next 15 minutes. So thank you so much. Bye.